Strippers, what do you really think about your clients? I'm a former stripper. The experienced guys who came in and knew what to do were cool. They generously tipped the girls performing, ordered private dances, and were very polite. The worst were the guys who thought they were smarter than the strippers or that they could somehow play games with us. For example, there was this one guy I remember who spent the whole conversation talking about how smart he was because he figured out that everything around him was fake and that girls aren't really attracted to men. Yeah, dude, you're a genius. Or when they think they're being funny by putting women down. It's not funny and you look terrible. To be honest, for the most part, I didn't think about the guys at all. Most of the time I was on autopilot and didn't judge them. I was only thinking about who seemed interested in a private show and who was a jerk to avoid. I don't want to sound rude, but I have a genuine question. What would you think if a lesbian ordered a private show? That's absolutely normal. If a couple orders, that's okay too. I didn't care who I was dancing for, as long as they paid, treated me with respect and enjoyed themselves. Oh, I see. I've always wanted to go, but I thought it might seem weird since I'm a woman too, lol. What would you say was your absolute worst experience? Dealing with clients? I can imagine you must have some creepy stories. I have to say I was probably very lucky. I didn't have that many dangerous or bad situations, and I mostly worked in professional places with very good security, so everything always felt like it was under control, and I never did anything that made me feel uncomfortable. The only specific incident I can remember is one time when I went to work in Wisconsin for a few weeks. I was on stage, kneeling in front of a guy, and I pulled aside my thong so he could tip me, but he just said, "We don't pay here." Usually it depends on what kind of person he is and his behavior. The best type are the guys who understand that it's all just a game. They leave generous tips, they're exceptionally friendly and sociable. They might even be regulars for certain girls, and they never cause any trouble or issues. The whole club staff loves guys like that. And then there are the others, the ones the girls hate. The guy who says, "I don't pay for dances," who thinks that his attitude will somehow make him desirable to the dancers. His signature line goes like this: "You're too beautiful, smart, and wonderful for this. If you're with me, you can leave all this behind." The street-level pimps who wander around asking the girls if they want to make some serious money. They're real pieces of shit too. Then there were the ones I personally didn't like. The guys who tried to wait in the parking lot until the end of the shift because me and Cinnamon had a connection, you know? She asked me to wait for her. No, bro, she didn't ask you. If Cinnamon told you that, she only did so knowing that I would definitely kick everyone off the parking lot though, before the girls had finished their work. The strip club industry is a strange place. Source: longtime strip club bouncer. At the strip club near me, the bouncers pick up and drive the girls in the club's company cars to avoid situations like what happened with Cinnamon. A few years ago, my business shared a parking lot with a strip club. Every day, a company car would bring the girls to the back entrance, and in the evening, it would pick them up again. I thought it was for their protection. It turned out they were trafficking women and keeping them locked up at night. Sometimes there were creeps, but mostly, back when I worked there a long time ago, there were groups of young guys just looking to have a good time. Occasionally, there would be someone who got too carried away and ended up causing trouble and acting like an idiot. Of course, I only worked 2 or 3 nights a week. People who dance full-time, especially during the day, deal with a completely different crowd. All the clients, as a rule, are looking for something that can distract them from their everyday lives for a while. It feels like I've been dancing my whole life. My husband and I sometimes come together to order a private dance, and it's much more fun than being on the other side. I love the young guys who just wanted to have a fun night out and were polite. I was lucky enough to run into a few such groups during my years as a stripper. I liked those who were nervous. In the city where I worked, clients were allowed to touch us anywhere except for the private parts. This charming guy, no older than 20, was so excited. "Is it okay if I squeeze your butt? Can I kiss your ass?" He was so incredibly gentle, it was just so sweet. Ah, those stripper years. Those were the good old days. It depends on the person. There were guys who followed me on my way home. There were creeps who tried to rape me at work and people who drove me out of my mind. On the other hand, I also met some truly wonderful people whom I am happy to call my friends. I just had a baby and invited 2 of my former clients to a celebration party in June to celebrate. Congratulations on the new baby, another former dancer, who is now a mother. Former stripper in the house. Of course, I've encountered all sorts of different people, but I'm here to talk about one very specific type, my favorite, Asi. There were a great many clients who were lonely or had no one to talk to, and I really listened to them. They understood that they could come and pay for company. I would sit at a table with one of my regular clients for several hours and just talk. I showed that I valued them as a person and was genuinely interested in the conversation. He knew he was taking up my time, and every time he would pay extra. I didn't pity them, but I respected them for finding a way to connect with others and fulfill their need for communication. It requires a lot of attention and it's valuable. Sometimes that's all someone wants or needs. I'm a hairdresser. Some of the more time-consuming services I personally don't do. But sometimes certain guys come in who order them just to sit down and have a conversation. People simply really want to be listened to every once in a while. I'm a former stripper, and I'd say most of the girls were pretty cool. We had this notorious old guy nicknamed Finisher Steve, who would always order a private dance from the new girls, pull out his dick, and finish right on their hair. He always had $300 in cash with him that he had to spend before they'd finally make him leave. Sometimes assholes would show up, but they were dealt with pretty quickly. One time I had a guy who held out a $5 bill and asked what he could get for it. I happily snatched it out of his hand and told him he could look at my ass as I walked away. Apologies. For those people who got really mad over $5, that guy grabbed my ass as I walked by. I suspect that wasn't the first time he'd done something like that. I pushed his hand away from my body and informed him that if he wanted to order a dance, the price starts at $10. Then he pulled out $5 and asked what he could get for them. At that point, his options were get kicked in the balls by someone, get beaten up by the guys at the exit, or lose $5. I think his friends felt relieved since he'd been acting like a complete jerk all night, and after that he behaved himself and nobody got thrown out. Wait, why wasn't Steve the Finisher kicked out? $300 is $300. I was a male stripper for a while. In my opinion, it's the same types of people there with their own quirks. Judging people usually just makes you less attractive. There are decent guys who like watching naked dancers, have lots of money, but are socially awkward. Weird guys are just as weird, polite guys are just as polite. The only difference is that I don't wear pants. I hope they like what I do, what they spend a ton of money on, and that we have a great time together. What does having a great time mean to you? Making money, dancing, and seeing that the guys are getting turned on. Former stripper, dancing and having fun conversations. If the guys are respectful and having a good time, then I'm having a good time too. For me, being a stripper was just like sex and entertainment. It depends on the person. I see men as potential cash. If you're rude to me or just sitting at the bar without tipping, then I have a low opinion of you. Oh yeah, I can tell you a lot in detail. I danced for 9 years in all kinds of clubs, from great ones to crappy ones. Guys who just hang out at the bar and mind their own business are usually a pretty good target for us unless they happen to be those regulars who never lift a finger to help. If those cheap regulars who never spend any money got hit by a car somewhere nearby, I honestly wouldn't even help them. They are often incredibly rude, they prey on the new girls, and mostly they just waste everyone else's time. I'm talking about the guys who come in and never leave a tip, refuse to order any private dances, don't buy us drinks, and act like they're somehow too good for this. Fucking assholes. People who are glued to their phones are fucking rude. If you're sitting by the stage on your phone, I want to knock that thing out of your hands so hard you can't even imagine. I'm up here topless actually trying to entertain you. Go to Hooters if you want to play Castle Hero and enjoy a cold beer. Shut. Guys who are painfully awkward and shy are definitely my favorites. As a sign of solidarity, I keep a few dice for board games in my purse. I can smell a brand new board game from all the way across the room, even through the thick, stale scent of beer and cheap cotton candy perfume. Nice guys will be perfect gentlemen once they finally sober up, but most likely they will just get drunk and do something terrible to you. Regular working guys, however, always pay in cold hard cash. Guys covered in paint and concrete always make my day. They just want to cool off, sip some cold beer, and feel a bit special. Chicks and fake swingers really annoy me. You really need to keep your girl away from the club because she just makes an embarrassing fool of herself trying to crawl on stage dancing badly for you. Yate. These chicks act like total jerks when they touch us without even asking for permission. Because I'm a girl too. So don't fucking touch me, Becky. Women who come just to try to put us down are the scum at the bottom of the barrel. Go back to your suburban nightclub and order your sweet pineapple vodka there, okay? But gay guys and bi girls are a delight. Performing for a girl who's actually genuinely interested in you is really nice, because it brings a nice bit of variety. Traveling businessmen are a different breed. They have a well-paying job. They are single, they are most likely highly educated or smart, and they just want some genuine company. I spend a lot of time with these guys. Eccentrics. I mean real weirdos. Guys who still live with their mom and spend their parents' money. Not because they're rich, but because they're so socially awkward and withdrawn that they can't seem to find a job. Those are the guys I feel the worst about. Like, please, don't come here. You're squandering your parents' money and asking me to do these incredibly creepy things. Have some tact and decency. Gangsters. These guys just suck. They're way too emotional, hot-tempered, and damn it, they're always threatening everyone around them. Guys involved in illegal activities. These are the guys who are constantly trying to hook up with girls. Guys who whip out their dicks, and guys who try to drag girls into their game. They're pimps. These are the guys I also wouldn't help if they got hit by a car. Dealers, pimps, rapists, go to hell. Well, alright then, I think that's pretty much all of the different types out there. Thank you so much for watching, and in the comments, if any strippers are watching us, feel free to write your honest thoughts about what you actually think about your clients, and don't forget to be sure to check out some of our other really awesome episodes right after this.